And we are live. So, hello everyone. A warm
Hello.
welcome. And yes, thank you so much. So we have our very energetic guest speakers that we have mentioned last Wednesday that will be bringing you two new guest speakers and two new topics today. So thank you so much for tuning in our Let Us Talk It page on YouTube as well on LinkedIn. And if you could join our Zoom live, please do. And yeah, we'll be tackling wonderful topics today. And if you wanted to collaborate and uh, also ask questions with our guest speakers, please do so join in. So my name is Phil. I'll be hosting today's Let Us Talk It Zipinar, which is made possible by Cogent Integrated Business Solutions. So they're an IT company based in Detroit, Michigan, and their only goal is to give back to the community in a form of free knowledge. So who does not want free knowledge, right? So information is everywhere, but the experience and valuable lessons by the seasoned professionals that we bring in this platform is what makes the knowledge sharing more valuable. So please stay tuned, and we'll be introducing you the first topic for today. So the first topic today is making an impact. So finding personal fulfillment in your work. So, making an impact at work involves understanding the significance of your role, setting meaningful goals, and seeking continuous improvement, which can lead to greater job satisfaction and personal fulfillment. Fostering a culture of recognition, encouraging initiative, and maintaining a positive mindset further enhance this sense of purpose and motivation. And to deliver this topic is Mr. Calvin Baldwin, which is a seasoned entrepreneur and financial expert with over a decade of experience in the insurance industry. And as the owner of an insurance agency and licensed mortgage loan or originator, Calvin has assisted thousands of individuals and families in securing their financial futures. And alongside his successful business ventures, he is also recognized as a keynote speaker and a transformational life coach, inspiring corporate audiences with his insights and strategies for success. So, such a great person and a speaker as well that is here with us. And without further ado, here's Mr. Calvin Baldwin for the first topic today. Please take over, sir.
All right. Thank you so much, Phil. I really appreciate you. So I'm very thankful to be here with you. And also, I'd like to thank Cogent IBS for allowing us to be able to have the platform, be able to share information to the world. And so today, I would like to be able to talk with you about making an impact, finding fulfillment in the workplace. And so I hate my job. I can't believe that I'm working here today. I just can't believe that I woke up for this. I could have stayed in bed for this, Phil. I mean, if it wasn't for my bills, I wouldn't even be here working right now. If anyone else says my name, I'm just going to scream. These are some of the sentiments that someone might say when they're not fulfilled at work. These are something that someone might say when they have a job that they necessarily don't appreciate. But at the end of the day, it's not necessarily their fault because they have bills to pay. They have a family to take care of. And as a business owner, we need to make sure that we have the right person on the job. Because if we don't have the right person on the job, then it is the wrong person. Hello, once again, everyone. My name is Calvin Baldwin. I'm a motivational keynote speaker, and I'm also a life coach. But today, I am a consumer. And so we all have had situations like this where we had received subpar service and we're just wondering to ourselves, what is this person doing here? How did they end up taking my money right now? How did they end up helping me? Like, what did I do to deserve this? And so these are some of the things that we have to consider when thinking about what type of job we want and where we want to work. Now, once again, I want to be able to show you that the person that's working the job is not necessarily their fault. Because when you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, uh, we have a need, a sociological need of having food, having water, and having shelter. So we have to meet that need first. Then once we meet that need, Then we can move on up to health and employment and be able to have safety at our job, and then also safety at our house. So we can take these same hierarchy of needs and we can apply those to our personal life, but we can also apply them to our work life. And so when you look at the philosophical needs here at the bottom, we're talking about making sure that this person has food and water, but not just for themselves, but also for their family. So sometimes when you're taking care of your family, it allows you to make sacrifices. Like, this is not what I want to do, but this is what I have to do. And so once again, when you see somebody that's just not happy with their job, it's because this is something that they have to do. So they have a philosophical need here to make sure that they have food, water, and shelter. Then they want to make sure that they have safety. Okay. So when we look at these needs, we cannot move up to the next need unless the previous need is taken care of. So we have food, water, we have safety. Then we're looking for love and belonging. We're looking for friendship. Okay. We're trying to build a solid relationship here on love and belonging. Then we move up to esteem. Okay, so once we're here with esteem, we want to be able to have respect for ourselves, and we want other people to respect us. Okay, so we're moving up here in the needs, and the top need is self-actualization. Okay, and this is also self-fulfillment. Okay, so at this point right here, the person is realizing how they want to live their life. They have everything identified, and now they want to be able to live their best life with having creativity and being able to have acceptance. Okay, and so once again, we can't necessarily blame someone for having a job when they're not uh, feeling self-fulfilled. But in life, we have to do whatever it takes. Sometimes we have to live a fast-paced life. We have to work long hours sometimes. We have family that we have to take care of. We have bills that we have to pay. And many times we're not receiving all the money that we need. We're receiving what we can get, but it's not necessarily what we need. And so sometimes you may find yourself working at a job where you don't necessarily have the value that you want. Okay. And so in these situations, you have to be able to just grin and bear it, because you do have these needs to be met. But now let's look at the definition of a person who's having fulfillment. Okay. A person who has fulfillment at work can be defined in a state of deep satisfaction and contentment derived from one professional activities and achievements. Okay. So when we look here and take it easy, we have deep satisfaction and contentment. Okay. So that means that you've already went through Maslow hierarchy of needs because you're analyzing that at work you have a deep satisfaction. I have seen situations in life where someone is so fulfilled by what they're doing, they would even work for free. So it's not even about the money because they're getting self gratification, they're getting an intrinsic value by helping other people. So it's derived from one's professional activities and achievement. It occurs when an individual feels that their work is meaningful. Is meaningful. You're making a difference. You're making a difference. And it aligns with your personal values and goals, allowing them to utilize and develop their skills and talents and contributes to the overall sense of purpose and well-being and has personal fulfillment at work. Okay. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about someone that's going to be totally 10 toes down, someone who's totally dedicated to this job. And so it's categorized by a sense of engagement, motivation, and pride in one's contributions. That's amazing. So when you're fulfilled at work, it almost means that it's bigger than you. You're working as a team to be able to accomplish a team organized goal. So this is bigger than you, is better than you, and is leading to both personal growth and a positive impact on the organization. Now, I really don't know what more we can ask for as a boss to be able to have an employee who is personally fulfilled there and they're happy, and but yet they're still meeting the corporate expectations. This is the type of employee that we look for. So one of the things that I want to take a pause for real quick is we look for employees that are self-fulfilled. Okay. Now, I know that we have all seen a show called The Undercover Boss. Now, on the Undercover Boss, it's basically when something is not right with the organization. Maybe the numbers are not right. Maybe they're getting too many customer complaints about the service. So the business owner will downdress themselves to look like a regular employee to kind of get an inside track on what's going on. Okay. So when you see the undercover boss, you're seeing a boss trying to go back and retract their movements to make sure that they're being represented in the right way because it's important. Because if you don't hire the right person, then you hire the wrong person. And instead of them making you money, they're going to lose you money. Okay. And that's not what we want. So, what we have here is the top 5 companies presented by the Glassdoor. Now, what I like about the Glassdoor is that they're getting feedback from employees. So, this is a company that bases their assessment on what the employees feel about these companies. So, these companies are going to be solid companies, companies that they believe in, companies that offer them an excellent foundation to whereas they can see their future. Okay. So these companies are concerned about them personally. They want to know that they're happy personally. They want to know that they're happy on the job and they care about them on the job. And they also care about their retirement. These employees are well taken care of and they wanted to be able to rank these companies. So the first company is going to be Bain and Company. The second company is going to be NVIDIA. The third is ServiceNow, and the fourth is MathWorks, and the fifth company is Procore Technologies. So let's look a little bit about Bain and Company. Let's see what they have to say. So Bain and Company, and I got this off of their website, by the way. They said we bring a fresh perspective and an infectious energy to every client relationship. Our emphasis on teamwork and trust and tolerance for divergent opinions helps clients focus on their opportunities, build their capabilities, and win the future. Together, we achieve results that bridge what is with what can be. Okay. And so this is how they look to focus on their customers and also building an excellent team. Now, one of the things that we have to do, and I know that I'm very limited on my time today, so I have to be able to kind of move quickly. All right. So there might be a sign here that we have here. So we want to be able to kind of pay attention to this sign. Okay. And so these, I have 10 guidelines here that exemplify an employee that does not have fulfillment on the job. Okay. So we're going to go over these here so that you can recognize them. Okay. So employee that does not have fulfillment on the job, they're going to have a lack of recognition. They're not going to be recognized for the things that they do. Sometimes when you're an employee, the bad thing about life sometimes is that you never know what's going to happen. I think Forrest Gump said it best. He said life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. And so you could be working for this company for 1 year, 10 years, 20 years. Who knows how long it'll be before you have recognition. But the thing that we're supposed to do is work hard every day. But sometimes being recognized can help a person. It can give them a boost of morale. Okay. So number 2, a limited career growth. They don't necessarily see themselves here long. They don't have longevity in mind. It's just a pit stop for them. So it's limited career growth. Also, some jobs may have a glass ceiling. So they might already know that, hey, working on this assembly line or working on this job's aspects here, that's how as I'm gonna go. I'm not gonna go any higher than that because I've seen that in the past. This person has been here 5 years and look at what they're doing. Okay. So the number 3 thing that we're talking about here is uninteresting work. They're not interested in what they have to do here. They don't want to do this work. The only thing they're trying to do is just get a check. They're not happy with this job. They're not working to their full potential. And they feel like it's a waste of time. And if they had any other alternative, they would do that. So when an employee feels this way, This is the energy that they bring to work. They're not bringing anything that's going to foster the corporate values. They're only thinking about how can I get this money and how can I go home. Okay. Also, number four is a poor work-life balance. Sometimes you can have long hours and you don't even get time to go home and relax. You don't have time with your kids. Anything that you do is always work related. When you come home, you got to go to sleep. You don't necessarily see the light at the end of the tunnel, and that's what a lot of people say. Okay. Number five is a misalignment with company values. Now, this is probably one of the biggest uh, aspects of this person not being fulfilled. Okay. We have to make sure that we have the right person at the right place at the right time. As a business owner, you've worked hard for all of these sales occurrences. You've worked hard for every opportunity that you have to market and make a dollar. And we don't need a disgruntled employee taken away from that. Okay, so you're paying the employee, but yet they're taking money from the bottom line because they don't share the same corporate values. Okay, and so when we look back at the undercover boss, that's the reason why they're there. They're there to see what's going on. Who do we have on the job? And what we talk about is we want each person to work just as if they were the boss. Would the boss do that? Would the boss do this? How would the boss answer this question? Would the boss be willing to give more time? And so these are the things that we have to look at before we hire someone because they definitely may not share the right values. Inadequate compensation. There might be a situation where people are not paid like they're supposed to be, or they're not paid to their value that they may believe. Okay. Now, at the end of the day, you might have an employee and they're always going to feel like they could use a dollar more. We all feel like we could use a dollar more. But in some situations, they may feel like they don't have all that they're supposed to have. And so instead of giving you their best actions on the job, they're going to give you a subpar performance because they feel like they're being paid subpar wages. Okay. So we can look at micromanagement. People definitely don't like to be micromanaged. I know I used to hate to be micromanaged, but that's a part of the job. And so sometimes if you don't know what you're doing, you have to learn how to be able to gain the trust of the company. Poor leadership. In many cases, poor leadership can also drive people away. When you have poor leadership, they necessarily may not know how to talk to this person or how to direct them. It's more like an army sergeant, and nobody wants that. Okay. So when you have no training or no resources, you don't really feel like there's an opportunity for growth. You feel like you're stagnant in your career. You're probably stagnant in your life, and there's no opportunities here. So when you go to work, the main thing they want you to do is do your 9 to 5, and I'll see you later. Okay, and it could be a negative workplace. We don't want a negative workplace. Okay, when you come to work, you need to have a positive workplace so that you can produce positive results. But if you have a workplace where people are talking about each other and almost about to fight over what? At the end of the day, we're here to get a job done, and we have to make sure that we keep the right mindset. And so teamwork makes the dream work. That used to just be a little slogan, but that's for real. Teamwork makes the dream work. When you're a part of a team, you can see something that's bigger than yourself. And you don't want to let your teammate down. You want to see them win. And so then you win. Okay. So let's look at some statistics right here so that way we can make sure that we're on the right track. Okay. So when we look at statistics, 65% of employees in the United States are satisfied with their job. Only 65%. Okay. 20% of employees in the US are passionate about their job. Okay. 60% of employees believe that their coworkers are the biggest contributor to their happiness at work. Being around their colleagues, because you're around them all the time. So you want to be able to talk with them. Sometimes you talk about sports, sometimes you talk about different things that's going on in politics. You talk about everything, but you have a great opportunity to build camaraderie and be focused on a goal. Now, this is the main statistics that we wanted to show. The main statistic that we wanted to show: companies with high worker satisfaction outperform low satisfaction companies by 202%. So that means that if the employee is having a good time, that they are feeling self-fulfilled, that they're going to produce high results for this company. That's why it's wonderful when companies take the time to develop their employees, and it's even better when they take the time to hire the right employee. There was a company, a steel company back in Hertford County that, to me, it seemed like they interviewed 1,000 people for 10 jobs. 1,000 people for 10 jobs. They were destined to find the right person. So these companies, we need to make sure that we hire the right person. Because if we don't hire the right person, then we're losing production. 74% of employees in the U.S. believe that company culture is one of the biggest contributing factors to job satisfaction. That's true. 57% of employees that work from home are satisfied with their job. Now, we can believe that because people are working from home. So you're going to have a good time working from home, but you still need to have fulfillment, because you still need to be able to feel that it's something bigger than yourself, that you're trying to help people solve their problems. Okay. And so now let's look at what allows an employee to feel fulfilled at work. Okay. So this is the positive side. Let's take a look at the positive side. Okay. They receive recognition and praise at work. Okay. And sometimes when you look at working, okay, we all said that we want to be able to make money. Okay. Now that's one of the reasons why we work. It's one of the major reasons: making money and being able to give back. Okay. Having fulfillment. But right here, the first example is receiving recognition and praise. It didn't say anything about compensation. Okay. Because when you receive recognition and praise, it's basically letting people know, hey, you're doing well, you're on the right track. And so when you're working with your colleagues, it means something, because your hard work was not in vain. Okay. Career advancement. Career advancement is what it's all about. So when you have recognition, the next thing is career advancement, because you're showing that you are a solid employee. You're showing that you're an employee that has value. Now, when you look at career advancement, one of the things that we look at is being able to have a long-term tenure in a job. Some employees that's been there so long, they can be considered a cornerstone of the company, someone that you can depend on 10 out of 10 times. They're going to be there because they've proven that according to their track record. Now, this is one of the best things about having a tenor relationship with a job. This is one of the best things about finding fulfillment, because the process is bigger than you. And so many times the owners of a company may not be caught up with the day-to-day processes. And so someone who has value with the company could have an improvement of a process that might improve productivity. It might even save the company lots of money and just reduce certain process in the steps or steps in the process. And that's what a valued employee can do. Okay. And so the next thing we're looking at here is a challenging work environment. We want to be challenged. We want to be able to have victories at work. We don't want to just go to work and it's another day at the job. No, we want to be able to have vigor. We want to be invigorating. We want to be exciting. Okay. So you also want to have a great work-life balance. We want to be able to go home, rest. We want to be able to have time with the kids, but then we want to be able to go back and have an awesome time at work. And the work-life balance, it has the work right, because if it's more on one side than the other, then it's not going to work right. So we need to have that balance so that everyone feels empowered. Okay, even the kids at home. Okay, and so we want to make sure that we have alignment with the company values. If we have alignment with the values, it's going to allow things to flow smoother. You're going to have fulfillment. You're going to be able to work just as if you're the boss on the job, because the boss has the same values. And so even though you may not do everything just like the boss would, sometimes if you can get close, that might be good enough because you're always going to try to perfect it. Okay. But being able to align yourself with the company values is number one. And so I was also doing research on this company called Zappos, and they're a great company. They weren't in the top five, but they're a great company because they look back and they try to make sure that they match their company values with the employees' personal values on and off the clock. I thought that was a great look for Zappos. And so also an employee that's having fulfillment or feels fulfillment, they're gonna feel like they have a fair compensation. They're gonna feel like they have enough money. They're gonna feel like they're getting a good value for their labor. And so whenever you feel that, that means you can go to work and try your best. You don't have to think about money. That's one thing I don't have to think about today, because I'm self-fulfilled with my job. I'm happy with my job. Freedom to make decisions. That's awesome. When you have freedom to make decisions and you're not micromanaged, that comes with being a seasoned employee. That comes with having fulfillment. That comes with being valued. That comes with passing the test of time when they know this person's going to make the right decision and not cost us money. Now, listen, let me take you a little further on this one. Watch this. Say, for instance, that this employee had a chance to go over and beyond. They might have to wait for an employee who's in transit, maybe an extra 5 or 10 minutes. Now, somebody who's not fulfilled at their job, they're not going to wait around. I got to go. As soon as 501 hits, I'm out of here. I'm hitting the door. But when you have someone that's fulfilled and they're a part of something that's bigger than themselves, it's no problem to wait 5 or 10 minutes to satisfy a customer. Because in the larger scale of things, this customer is paying us. This customer is going to go out and tell the world that, hey, John made a difference. He didn't have to do it, but he did. John was thinking like a boss. John had personal fulfillment at the job, and that's what we're looking for. So you also have support from the leaders. That's what we want. We want to be able to have a culture where people are trying to see the best in other people. I remember a time when I was working at a job and I needed income, and I was working at a job and I had a master's degree and I was sweeping floors. The company didn't see greatness in me. I saw greatness in myself. That's why I had to get out of there. All right. And also, you have training opportunities. When you are looking for fulfillment, you're looking to put down your roots. Okay. A lot of people move from job to job. But when you look outside and you see these trees, these huge, humongous trees, these trees have roots in the ground. Put your roots down in a company. Don't jump from company to company. Go ahead and get training. And so once you get that training, you put your roots down. That means that you're showing value. And now you have value and knowledge that you've invested in yourself. So the company can invest in you now and then also invest in your future. Okay. So once again, let's look at that again. By having training, you're adding value to yourself. You invest in yourself now, and then the company continues to invest in you now and in the future. Now, that's a win situation. A positive workplace culture. That's all that we want. We want a positive culture. We want to be a part of a team. They asked Kyrie Irving, they say, what's the difference between you now with the Mavericks and the other team that you was playing for in the past? You seem like a better teammate. Kyrie said, hey, I'm here with the Mavericks. They're giving me everything that I needed. I needed a good team that was going to be a foundation for me so that I could have their back and then they watch my back. That's all I ever needed. That's all I ever asked for. So now he's in a status where he can win because he doesn't have to worry about his teammates. He doesn't have to worry about the support coming from the culture. He doesn't have to worry about things that happened in his past. He can just focus on now and he can focus in the future. That's what we're talking about, a positive workplace culture. And so I don't want to overdo my time. I want to just make sure we touch on what will bring a person fulfillment in the job. And I know we've touched on a lot of different things, but my recommendation for anyone is to basically look inside yourself and find out what makes you happy. Every person in the world today is looking for happiness. And so if you can find happiness at home, and you can find happiness at the workplace, that's what you should do. Look for happiness and find a company that's going to be able to share the same corporate and personal values that you have. Now, you do have Maslow needs hierarchy of needs now. So you got to make sure that you're eating and make sure you're safe and secure. But once you have those things taken care of, find out where you want to be. And as a company, we need to make sure that we're hiring the right people. Once again, if you don't hire the right person, the wrong person will get the job. Okay. And so I tried to find a good quote that I could end on, and I couldn't just find one. So I had to find three. And these three really exemplify everything that we're talking about today. Success is not the key to happiness. Happiness is the key to success. If you love what you're doing, you will be successful. And that's from Albert Schweitzer. Okay. And that's very true. Second one here, the only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking and don't settle. That's by Steve Jobs. Okay. And the last one here is choose a job you love and you will never have to work again a day in your life. That's by Confucius. And that's what I believe right there. Find a job you love and you'll never have to work another day in your life because you're giving back personal and you're receiving personal gratification for everything that you do. Everything doesn't have to have a dollar value, but everything does have to have a meaning. Thank you so much for allowing me to be able to share. Once again, my name is Calvin Baldwin, and we're talking about making an impact, finding personal fulfillment in the workplace. Thank you so much, Phil. I appreciate your time.
Wow, that's really a great topic. A great talk, Sir Calvin. That's very timely because we are consumed by corporate works at the moment and all that. So since the pandemic, after that, like there has been a lot of changes in the workspace, definitely. So it's very timely. Like it's some of it are very like common knowledge, but it's not something that you'll hear from somebody or from one another. Like it's very relatable as well. Like the moment you actually started the actual topic, like I think I heard myself told before when I was working in a like a sales call center job, something like that. So like it's very laborious to just wake up
Yeah,
and go to work. So yeah, it feels heavier every day to go to your shift. All right. So well, I have been seeing this posts lately on like job groups. They say that like a company is toxic when they say they are always hiring. What's your side
yeah.
on that?
Well, I've definitely been in situations where there's a lot of turnover, and always hiring is not bad if there's new opportunities, but you have to look at why you're not retaining your employees. And so when you have a high turnover, you know the company is losing, and also the customers are losing because they don't have anyone that can show them a benefit or value, to what they're purchasing or to the service. And so you can't beat someone who has tenor with the company because they're the cornerstone of the company. And so if you don't have someone that you believe in, it's almost you almost have to duplicate the owner, to be able to try to make sure that each position has value. And so that's the reason why we have to hire the right person. And so those companies who have a high turnover, I would definitely look at ways to try to be able to maintain and attract better employees and employees that share that same value. And sometimes, like I was saying before, Phil, that all of the increases or raises, or promotions, a lot of these things are not always dealing with money. Sometimes you could give someone praise and recognition on the job, and that'll be the same thing as a raise, or sometimes you can show people, that they don't have a glass ceiling, but the ceiling can go all the way through the roof. So we have to show them, these positive attributes of the job so that they can have something to work towards. And so that would be my suggestion.
Wow, that's yep. Thank you for sharing your side. And yeah, before we end your part, do you have anything coming up in the future, Sir Calvin?
Well, thank you so much, Phil. I have an opportunity where I'll be speaking at a restaurant in Portsmouth, Virginia. Uh, the restaurant is Thai Basil, and I'll be there on June 28th. And so once again, I'm a keynote speaker, so I love to speak. I'm a Les Brown certified speaker, and so Les Brown is my mentor, and so I definitely can't forget to say his name because he has helped me out tremendously. And so I am also a life coach, a transformational life coach. And so my website is cbspeaks.com, cbspeaks.com. So you'll be able to find where I am there and also be able to check out some of our posts.
All right, that's perfect. And also, if you wish to like just talk to Sir Baldwin offline, you can just send connection invite on LinkedIn. He's very responsive and very kind. So you just send your invite and send your message. Then just type his name, Calvin Baldwin, and yeah, there you go. So, sir, thank you so much for the first topic today and such wonderful insights and thoughts.
Thank
Alrighty,
you, Phil.
and yeah, we'll moving on. We will be having our next topic for today's session. So thank you for tuning in. And then for those who have who are watching on YouTube Live, you can drop your questions on the chat if you wanted to ask any from the speakers, and then I'll just deliver it to them. So the next topic we have today is people-centric process improvement. So this topic about it is about a focus on enhancing organizational processes by uh, prioritizing the needs, skills, and experiences of employees. This approach leads to higher productivity, better quality of work, increased employee morale, and sustainable, adaptable practices, fostering a culture of innovation and continuous improvement. And to deliver this topic with us is Ish Sakdeva, which is a founder and CEO of Heart Consulting and have more than 20 years experience leading complex transitions, projects, programs, and process improvements. And so there is a discordant note that kept recurring in his ears and constantly heard the human element relegating in the background. And this ignited a spark which he envisioned a world where technology and people played in perfect harmony during projects and programs, fueled by his vision and his passion for people centric project and program management. I recently founded the Art Consulting. So, without further ado, we are presenting to you the second topic, the people-centered process improvement by Ishak Beda. Sir Ish, you can take over. You are currently on mute, Ish.
My apologies.
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you, thank you so much for that warm introduction, Phil. As you rightly mentioned, something that's very close to my heart is the people, because what I believe, for any organization to succeed, they need people to be the center of their thought process. Without a focus on people, you might make a profit today, but if you want to sustain in the long run and you want to compete and stand out from the competition, you'll have to focus on people. I'll start by a good stat that I found from a Gallup study. It said that 21% profitability is increased when people or the organization starts focusing on making people the center of their processes. And a study by Deloitte has said, which would relate to what my friend Kelvin was saying about retaining the high talent. People or the organizations that are focused on people, who have their processes built around people, retain about 5 times more talent than any of their competitions. Now imagine you have got talent staying in, the profitability soaring. You would have how much amount of money and how much amount of talent available to compete and innovate. That's what the people-centric process improvement is all about.
Sir, are
So
you able to put the slides on a presenter mode?
I
Oh yes. Okay, there is. Thank you.
so coming on to what exactly is people-centered process improvement. You hinted on it that it's about, see, process at the end of the day is a mandatory thing for any organization to succeed. If you are an organization, you need processes in place. Without a solid process, you would not have that navigation path for complex problems, for anything that you have to do in your organization. You need a process defined. But what happens most of the times is the process is more focused on the end result, and it's not focused at all on the people who are going to follow that process. And what that does is people are forced to follow the process. And when you're forced to follow the process, you will do it. I'm not saying that you would not, because that would mean bad ratings, that would mean no increment and maybe a job loss as well. But if a process is designed in accordance to the people who are going to follow it, then what happens is you follow it by the heart, you contribute to the process, you make improvements to it, and with all these things, what happens is new innovation happens. Your employee morale gets boosted. So there are a lot of benefits involved in making people the center of your process improvement. Let's go a bit further. So let's see what are the three key principles of actually building a process improvement around people. So the entire people-centric approach is based on three key principles. It all begins with empathy, collaboration, and continuous feedback. Empathy is the cornerstone of process improvement when focused on people-centric approach. And empathy is a very common word. A lot of people talk about it. A lot of organizations use the word that we are empathetic towards our employees. But when you see the ground reality, you don't see that happening that often. You'll see processes that are redundant. You'll see processes that are too strict and are not adding value to the organization or to the value map. So when we are designing a process, the person who is designing it must put himself in the shoes of the person who is going to follow it. How is he going to feel about it, and does that process actually add value to the person following, and if yes, how? The moment you begin the thought process with that thinking in mind, that how are we going to get the process improved while ensuring, just give me a second. Okay, yeah, I'm sorry for that. So when we talk about empathy, it's not only about making yourself in the shoes of the employees or the people who are going to follow it. Yes, you need to get into the shoes of your customers as well on how they are going to see the benefits from the process. Once you align both of the things, what you will do is you'll have a process that's loved by your people and is producing a result that is in line with your business objectives. Now, for empathy to be truly successful, you need to collaborate with your employees. A lot of times, what I've seen is a process is first made and then it's forced upon the employees to follow it, which is In my opinion, not the right thing to do. Yes, you need a process in place. You need your people to follow that process. But would it be good if you have a process which is designed by the people who are going to follow it, and that can not only be done by, say, having a Spock who is close to the manager. That's how the process definition usually happens. You'll pick a representative who thinks similar to the manager who's building the process, and then the entire process is built without much of the hindrance or without much of the negative talks from the employees who are going to follow it. And when you're collaborating, you don't have to collaborate to see the positive aspects of the process. You have to ask about how it is going to harm them. What are the things that are going to make their life difficult? Those are the kind of things you need to talk about when collaborating about the process. You can use various tools, various techniques for that. But the cornerstone is talking to your employees, talking to the people who are going to follow it on the ground. And not one people, try and talk to many more people. A lot of times people may not speak in public, so you'll have to conduct those one-to-ones with them to understand how that process is going to affect their work basically. Now that brings me to the third principle, continuous feedback. What I was mentioning in the previous step is actually the third principle. You need to continuously take feedback from your employees, from the people who are going to follow the process. Is it producing the right result? Is it adding value to their daily jobs? A lot of times what happens is you have a process just for the sake of having a process, but if you go down and dissect the process, what you will find is it is not adding value, but it is just wasting time of the employees. And what that does is, when a process is not adding value to their work, it's not yielding benefits, people start hating their jobs. As my the previous speaker mentioned, you don't want people to hate their jobs. You want people to love their jobs. You want people to follow the process because they know if they'll follow the process, they'll get the benefit. It could be in terms of low turnover. It could be in terms of better leads. It could be in terms of getting more involved with the customer. It could be in terms of making their jobs easier, or maybe reducing the risk. If they understand the value behind the process and they are involved in making that process, they are more likely to have their process in place. Talking about the benefits, a good process which is built by the people will improve their productivity. It will improve their morale. And when the productivity and morale improves, the thought process changes from feeling dissected or feeling cheated to feeling valued. And when you're feeling valued, people innovate. I recently read a case study of an organization that did that in 2018. They did a small thing, not something radical. What they did was, once in a week they had their employees sit in a room and talk about anything to everything that they wanted. And what that did was, that gave them the freedom to express themselves, and that led to innovative ideas. And those innovative ideas would then get processed into a process on how to process those ideas. The process for developing those ideas to running those ideas was built by feedback from them. So when you put people at the center of everything, you improve morale, you increase innovation, and you improve productivity. Now, we've already talked about a lot of things here. I've talked about the case study that I read. I'll talk about the strategy for implementing the process improvement focus on people. The first thing first is, I'm sure your organization will already have a lot of processes in place. The first thing is, pick up one process, dissect it, pick each step, and identify how is it adding value to the people who are going to follow it. If a step is not adding value and it is only creating hindrance, sometimes what is seen as hindrance is actually in turn adding value. That is something you need to dissect, understand how a step adds value to the life cycle of the process, and if it is not adding value, that means you need to work on either removing that step or reworking on that step so that it becomes a step that adds value to the people. Now the second step is, for every process step, you need to have a feedback mechanism in place for every process. So maybe you can do that quarterly or in your one-to-ones with the team. Talk to them on different processes that they follow, on how it's benefiting them, how they see it improving. A lot of times when you talk to the employees, you take their feedback, you gain valuable insights on what can be improved in the process. A solo thinking may not improve the process as much as when you talk to a lot of other people. Sometimes having a third party view on your process, on how he sees or she sees the process, will also help. Now the other thing is training and development. One thing, it's not only about making them do the certifications, it's about involving them in workshops, getting them to talk about what they want training about, and those trainings should be workshop kind of trainings rather than giving them material to study. Collaboration tools I've already talked about in the past as well. You need to have tools like Teams meeting and other collaboration tools available for teams to collaborate and share their ideas. The more ideas they share, the more free they are to share their feedback, the better your team is going to perform. And process improvement is an iterative approach. So you don't just build a process and stop there. You continue to iterate it, you continue to improve it. So it's not a one-time process. A lot of organizations, what they do is they build the process today and they won't touch it for next few years. And a process today may get outdated a couple of months down the line, a couple of days down the line, a couple of years down the line. But you need to continuously evaluate your process. Because technologies change, new technologies get added, people change, how people think change. If your people have seasoned across, a process which was set for a newcomer is no longer needed for a process for a person who has been in the organization for say a couple of years. He would have mastered that process. So you need to maybe mellow down the process for somebody who is just starting as compared to somebody who is already in the process. With that, I'll come down to common challenges. Now, the biggest challenge I've seen is the resistance to change. And that is something that can only be done when you are explaining the benefit of the process on the reason behind having that process in the system. A lot of times people feel it is to police them, it is to actually mark down wrong things that they are doing. You need to make them understand if there is a step in the process, it is to make them feel comfortable, it is to make their life easier. You need to ensure that every time you have a process in place, it is being talked to about the people, it is built or it is communicated in a way wherein people feel valued about the process. It should not be forced upon to the people. Talk to them, ease them into the process. That would help you overcome the resistance to change, and then to sustain the momentum, you need to continuously improve. The biggest challenge or the biggest thing that people fail to do in a process improvement uh, drive is continuous improvement. They do the improvement today and then they stop. It has to be a continuous cycle of improvement. What's today as a process will not sustain a few months down the line, a few uh, say maybe years down the line. So it has to be revalued. I've seen processes built today and being followed for 2 years, 3 years without any major modifications. They will modify a thing here and there, but you need to reevaluate your process. For me, at least after every 6 months, you need to reevaluate your process to see if it is still adding value. With that, I'll wrap up my talk. I have kept it short and precise because this is one topic which is quite simple to hear, but it's all about ensuring that you've got an approach wherein people feel valued about the process that they are going to follow. With that, I'll wrap it up and open it up for Q&A.
Wow, that's really a good talk as well, Suresh, because like it's simple to actually listen to like the people-centric process, but the actual implementation takes time because not every company is willing to do that. Maybe uh, making sure that voices of the employees are heard. So maybe the same question might be applied because it's quite related. So the same question I have asked to Sir Calvin, like uh, what's your side? What's your side on like they are saying that the company is toxic when they are always hiring.
Well, that's an interesting question. Well, for me, there are two sides to it. The first thing I'll want to understand is the company hiring for new opportunities, or is it to backfill the redundant employees? If it is the later, it is to refill the employees who have left them, then it's an alarming sign. But if it is because they are expanding their business, it's actually a good sign because that means they are expanding their business, they are adding more opportunities daily. And I've been part of both the organizations wherein they have been hiring constantly because people resign too often. They'll work for a few months and they'll leave the organization. And I've been in organizations wherein they hire because they continue to get new projects and they want more people. The current set of employees or the current set of workforce cannot handle the opportunities that the company is getting. So it's a twofold approach. The company needs to actually understand that refilling the talent is not easy. It's always cheaper to retain the talent than to rehire him. Even if you would rehire the people or the person at 20% lesser rate, but if you see the overall expense, you would have actually made 30-40% more expense on that new employee because a new employee will not become productive on day one. He will take at least 3 months to get accustomed to understand the process, and then after that it will take another 3 months for him to peak to his performance. So you are actually paying 6 months of wages extra to an employee. If you would have paid that 6 months of wages extra to your previous employees and made them feel more comfortable, your organization would have had better profit and better innovation.
All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing your side of that topic. Well, I just saw that in social media because I've joined some groups of like industries where they are like hiring and all that. But yeah, so it's good to hear from seasoned professionals about their side on such topics. And this is a very wonderful topic as well, and very timely. So thank you so much for bringing this one, Sir Ish. So we don't have any questions so far yet, any additional, but yeah, I would like to ask if anything's coming up in the future, Sir Ish. Are you holding like any
Nothing as
speaking
of now.
engagement?
I have no planned talks. So the only thing is, if anybody is listening is interested in improving the processes or overhauling their stalled projects, I'm available on LinkedIn. We can have a chat, and I can help the organizations build processes that are centered around people, reignite stalled projects, all with people-centric approach. Or if they are heading towards a major transition, I can work with them on their transition plan and get them the support required for a successful transition.
Mhm. Alrighty then. That's really perfect. So there you go. That concludes the second topic that we have for today's session. And I'm very pleased that we have such great enthusiastic speakers that we have today. And aside from that, from the topics that they have shared, their willingness, their time and effort into bringing this free knowledge into this platform is such a great feat already. So for that, Sir Colvin, Sir Ish, thank you so much for that, and hope to collaborate with you again for another talk in the future, maybe, and for different topics. So as of the moment, we don't have yeah, rechecking. We don't have any questions so far. But if in case you have pending questions for those who will be watching this recorded video later on, you can connect with our guest speakers on LinkedIn. First is Calvin Baldwin, and second is Ish Sakveda Kasakdeva, I'm sorry, and just type in their names on LinkedIn and then send a connection invite, and yeah, just message them, just like I did. They are very responsive, and yeah, you can easily get in touch with them. So. Before we end today's webinar, I would like to invite you again next Wednesday at the same time, 12 noon to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as we will be having two new guest speakers and two new topics to give to you. Again, it's for free, so let everyone know to join in, hop in. Just if you're busy working, just put the Zoom in and then yeah, just listen. So like you can learn from different individuals and different perspectives. Definitely, it's a great form of sharing. So that concludes today's webinar. Thank you again, speakers, and thank you for those who have watched on our social platforms. And yeah, I will see you again next Wednesday, definitely. We'll be bringing you two new season guests. So, as how you were excited today, the same excitement will be delivered next Wednesday already. So this ends today's webinar. And thank you, speakers. Thank you, everyone. And hope to see you again next Wednesday. Take care as always and keep safe. And goodbye for now.